Welcome to the series, When Will the Church Win? I'm your host, Ilelemwanta Nomaren. It seems like Christianity's 2,000-year dominance over Europe and 500-year dominance over the world is finally coming to an end. Fewer and fewer people are going to church, more and more nations are becoming secular, and harmful and incorrect traditions are being challenged and debunked. Most Christian nations could be majority atheist and/or agnostic by the end of the century. Given all these damning facts, it seems like it would be better to ask the question, when will the church disappear? But our spiritual analyst, Ewaenruwa Nomaren, begs to differ. Mr. Nomaren, thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to be back once more.
Will Christianity eventually disappear? And what about all the other religions?
Yes, the Christianity that we know of today with the popes, the bishops, the cardinals, the church services, the rituals, Christmas, Easter, and all that, and everything else you know about Christianity today will die out soon. I mean, we're already watching it. People have little regard for spiritual things now. It's how to make money that's the trendy thing. Remember, God said in Isaiah chapter 24, verses 1-7, that he was going to make the earth utterly wasted and desolate. And this would happen to the people and to the priest, to the rich and to the poor, to the preacher and to the flock. So Christianity will be destroyed in its entirety. And immorality of all kinds will be so rampant that Job chapter 15, verse 16 will fulfill quite literally. We will be drinking iniquity like water. We'll be living in a world like Noah's again. In fact, we're well on our way, actually.
And what is God doing about this development?
God is the one controlling it. He's tired of all the crap and stupidity that those false prophets have caused. He needs them destroyed. And Jesus Christ is working very hard at that. He said in Matthew chapter 7, verses 21-23, that he was going to teach those false religious leaders a lesson that they'd never forget. As he said in Luke chapter 19, verse 27, Jesus is having all his enemies gathered before him so that he can destroy them utterly. And so the disappearance of all the fake religions, yes, God has a big hand in it. In fact, he has employed some evil angels to facilitate that process, if you read Psalm 78, verse 49. God has allowed some evil angels who hate Christianity to rubbish it. I mean, look at all the kinds of pastors we have now. Effeminate and just irresponsible, lovers of money, the least decent people you could ever imagine.
Do you think social media and AI will influence these trends? Will people eventually stop going to church in person?
Well, since COVID, online worship has become a growing trend, and I think eventually it will become the norm. Well, I mean, once upon a time, everybody used to go to the bank, right? But not anymore because of online banking. People will eventually just save their money and worship from home. I see that coming. In fact, in John chapter 4, verses 20-24, Jesus Christ even said that, eventually, this whole idea of going to a place to worship is just going to go out of fashion. Social media and AI are playing their role in judging the apostates who mismanage the church. Where AI has taken us, we're not quite sure yet, but one thing is certain, God is using it as a tool for judgment. The way science now is decimating Christianity still baffles me, even though it's been happening for over a century.
And what about the state? Most Western democracies have finally managed to separate the church and state, for the most part. Religious leaders no longer influence day-to-day public policy. But what will happen to the state now?
That's an excellent question, and it's a good opportunity to just sort of reflect on how many prophecies in the Bible have actually fulfilled. You know, in the previous episodes, we talked a lot about the fornication that the church committed with the state and how that corrupted the church. But now, the church's lovers have turned on the church, actually, and despised her, just as Israel's lovers did in the Bible. We're really seeing Lamentations chapter 1, verses 1 and 2 fulfilled. And I want to read this for your viewers because it's very concerning to those of us who are Christians and have to watch as moral values get destroyed by secularity and atheism. Jeremiah perfectly described what Christianity is facing today, but in a physical sense when he was lamenting of the fall of Jerusalem. He said, "How doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations, and princess among the provinces, how is she become tributary? She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies."
So how should Christians react to all this? I mean, we're seeing the religion decline after centuries of incredible growth. How should we feel?
Joel the prophet said that we should mourn about it in Joel chapter 2, verses 15 to 17. He gave us a command. He said, blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their God? That's what I do when I see the rot that has eaten the church. It's terrible. But we must survive. We must not fall with it. God said in Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 50, that we should run, but let Jerusalem come into our mind, which means prophetically that we should continue to be Christians and to believe in Jesus, even as Christianity rapidly loses followership.
But how can Christians maintain their faith in modern times?
We have to take God's advice in Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. If any of us are still looking to the Pope and to cardinals and bishops for spiritual direction, then we have to stop having faith in them, because they don't have a future. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help, right? Psalm 146, verses 3 to 4. Your faith in God should be grounded in solid understanding of Scripture, not in community. Don't rely on your pastor to teach God to you. Don't rely on Christian brethren to stir up your faith. You need to have a solid understanding of the faith for yourself, because your pastor cannot overcome temptations for you. The Pope cannot overcome temptations for you. It is you who can do that. And make sure that your faith is based on current events. Christianity is dying out now because people keep looking back to old times. Jesus and the disciples 2,000 years ago, or maybe Abraham 4,000 years ago. If you're going to still believe God today, then you have to be able to use the Bible to interpret what's going on around you. Look at 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 to 5, Matthew chapter 24, and see how they're fulfilling. Let that be your guide and your hope. That's how you won't be convinced out of your faith by the ever-growing community of atheists in our world.
So, if Christians keep all these things in mind and defend their faith against secularity, when will the church win exactly?
We are already winning. You, myself, and those of your viewers who believe in God and truth, we are the church. Remember, all this calamity that is befalling the world is decimating God's enemies and our enemies, and we rejoice about that. In Revelation chapter 19, verses 1 to 6, we see the angels rejoicing as apostate Christianity is being destroyed. I'm happy about that. The church is happy about that. If you also remember Luke chapter 18, verses 1 to 8, and Revelation chapter 6, verses 9 and 10, you'll see that that's what's fulfilling now. God is avenging us of our adversaries. So we are grateful to God for that. But it's coming with a lot of pain, with suffering, and we have to endure it. That's why Revelation chapter 13, verse 10 talks about the faith and patience of the saints. But we'll come through. I have faith in God about that. And at the very end, God will give us the victory.
Very encouraging words, Mr. Nomaren. And that is where we'll stop with this series on Bible Q&A. When will the church win? It's already winning, apparently. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.